Well, if you're watching this, you may or may not have had some trouble deploying Vendure. Similar to myself, I did have a little bit of issues figuring out some deployment configurations, things like that, since I did want to deploy to DigitalOcean. I do DigitalOcean, like for first timers, they do give some credit, so it's kind of nice. And I'll drop a link to like a reference link where you can get credit from my account, so I get some points or however it works. Um, so that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to use DigitalOcean, just because I want to try it out. And maybe like Google Cloud offers it too, but I might have already used it or something, so I just didn't have access to like a trial um, period. So, anyways, I want to make this video just as a step-by-step guide to repeat the process that I went through to actually get something working and deployed, because it was a little bit uh, like nuanced, I'll say, and I just want to make sure I don't forget, so I want to record this process. But I was thinking I might as well just record this sort of as a step-by-step tutorial just so that other people can reference it as well. So I'm not gonna ramble on too much. Let's just jump in. So I made an empty folder here. I just called it tests, and I opened up the terminal within that folder. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in a folder called backend. I'm also gonna grab the latest release, which I think is 2.0, 202 or 203. So before I get too far, let me describe what we're going to set up. So inside DigitalOcean, we're going to use the DigitalOcean app. And I tried this with like droplets as well. I did like an implementation where I have a droplet for the front end, and it's running Nginx, and it's running uh, whatever React server, whatever server, and then it's on the back end another droplet that's just running the Vendure back end, and then another managed database. And it's all working within a VPC. But then my buddy came along. He's like, "Wait, this is too much work. You're doing too much here. Let's just, you know, let's make it simple." So basically, he told me to do the app, and he helped me set that up. So I'm trying to repeat that process a little bit here. Let's go back into here. I'm gonna do manage database on DigitalOcean. It's gonna be Postgres. And the database password is gonna be filled in later. Just put a password for now. Super admin's fine. Populate, no. We're not going to populate it with sample data. While that's installing, I'm going to create a managed database. And you'll see I have a managed database already set up. I don't know. I'm just going to use a different region to keep it completely separated. Let's use New York here. And I want Postgres. Perfect. Okay, let's create that. And this will take a little while to set up, I think. Okay, cool. We'll come back to this once it's done creating. Let's check here. Okay, failed to initialize server because it can't populate. Could not connect to database. Okay, perfect. That's what we want. All right, let's do a quick sanity check here. Come on, auto update. Require verification. I'm gonna say false. This will turn off the require email verification for when we create like a test user, and then we'll want to turn that back on once we actually use a real email setup or whatever. I think there's just one thing we want to do for this database. We want to set up a SSL certificate. So let's go into the environment variables here. I'm going to say CA cert. And then I'm going to paste this little section of code here. Yarn add FS. We're going to go to the top here. Import FS. Once that's done, and our cert path is going to be, if you want to run this, if you want to connect your database locally as well, since in this case we won't be able to without this section of code, what you could do is you could go into the database cluster, looks like it's set up now, and you would go here to download CA certificate. And then you'd put that, I would put that within the project directory on my local machine. And then I would ignore it. And then my cert path would just, I would put it in the same, put it in this top level here, just throw it in there. And then I would just access it like this. But if you're in development mode, you could read the file from there. Otherwise, you want to just process the environment variable directly. Cert path. Just like that. Just like that, it should. And now let's define cert path. So import type path or file descriptor, just like that. Looks good. What is this? Not assignable to type string. Okay, so what you could do is local cert path. We'll just define this top here. Certificate. That'll be the name of the file if you download it. That'll give you that direct access there. And then this will be a type of. Okay. Let's see if that works. I don't want this code just yet though. I do have a database running on my local host, and it's just the default Postgres database. So it's going to have the default password and such. Okay, and let's give this a shot here. Import 3000. I do want to change that as well. I want to go to 3001. Okay, cool. Looks like we are in business. Looks like 2.03 is the latest. And we're in. Okay. Okay. I'm going to need to set up a repo since these apps connect to repo to repos to a repo. So I just set up this organization here called a Vendure. Complete setup. New repo here. Just going to call it backend. Should I call it demo backend? This can be public. I think it can be public. I'll change it later if I see anything. I'm getting tired though. Let's create this repository and then we'll do the front end as well. And we're just going to fork this. Create a new fork. And I'm just going to call it demo front end. And we're just going to keep the master branch. Look good, looks good. Create fork. Okay, so we have our front end and we have our back end repos. We need to populate the back end. Where's my back end, front end? And we're going to go in here, demo back end. Let's run this. It. Add all. Status. Except it doesn't look good. Let's do get ignore. I'm going to change this to. Let's see if I have to uncache. Remove that one. Get remove cached. Okay, cool. Add. All right, and the next step is going to be, and then we can pretty much do the rest of these. Paste them here. Run them. All right, we are in business. In business. Well, let's run it with the front end actually to make sure that's working. Let's clone this. So I'm going to go back into, then I'm going to clone. Front end. While that's running, we're going to connect to our database here. All this information I'm going to show because it's not going to exist. Let's do something like this here. We'll just hard code some stuff in here. Okay, that should work now. CD into front end. We'll open this in code. Okay, let's create a new file. Call it DNV. Sorry. Let's see what the demo looks like. Fine. I'll run this real quick just to see. Let's make sure the backend starts up nicely. Okay. It looks like we're running on port 3001 now. Let's go into our front end. And what if I started the front end too early? Let's see what's going on here. Looks like it's running. It's pretty good. Oh, my local database I've been using for testing, so I'm actually logged in as something. So yeah, I'm connected to my local database. That's why I have something there. And let's up here, and we'll finish this up tomorrow.